All right, guys. Today we get started on our third or fourth big winter project. Got the combine in the shop. And get started working on it. H&R showed up. They're gonna give it a good combine inspection. So let's go down here and find out just how big of a project it's gonna be. Alright, we got this tractor in here behind the combine. We got a little bit of work to do here. It's got a hydraulic leak. We got our seals and everything. We got the vacuum pump on the hydraulic tank, so we have to bring all the expensive, really expensive hydraulic oil. Anyway, here on this big canister filter, it's leaking right down there at the bottom, so this whole pipe right here has got to come off to get to that seal. So that's what we're going to be working on right now. Alright, Zach got the pipe off here.
We got a little problem though. It's on the bottom side of the reservoir, and it don't matter if that pump's running or not. The hydraulic fluid's still coming out. That's the top end that goes into the canister. This is what goes down into the bottom of the reservoir.
Was there a ring? This ring, did you pop it off?
Yeah, it popped off. They had a zip tie on top.
Okay, zip tie just holding it on.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor and watch that 5-gallon bucket underneath there? Because that hydraulic fluid's not going to stop.
Is it at least a clean 5-gallon bucket where we can reuse it?
The one in there is, the next one ain't. I don't have another clean. I've got another bucket under there, but it's dirty, so we cannot reuse whatever oil that goes into that next one. I don't have another clean bucket.
Alright, so this one right here is probably the one that was leaking.
Yeah, that's what goes into the...
Right there, right there.
So what does this go on?
Who freaking knows?
See if this goes down inside of there.
Well, it looks like it might go up here at the top. That looks like that's what that's for.
Yeah, I don't see any kind of structure.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Oh my God, really? That one.
That's this one right there.
Yeah. Is this the new one?
All right, here you go. I replaced the one at the top too. It was an O-ring.
Okay.
You want this extra bucket this one?
No, I'll be able to get it on plenty of time.
Make sure you clean around the base real good so we can tell easily if it's leaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna move this bucket, and I was gonna get somebody to hand me some brake cleaner, and I was gonna wipe it up.
I don't know if we got any brake cleaner or not.
It should. It may be on that cart.
There it is.
What kind of pliers you want?
Just some regular old pliers.
There's two kinds. You want this one? There you go.
Alright, so what's the final verdict?
Not too bad. You've already seen all the major issues. It's been our wear strips and our feeder. Tension bolts need to be cleaned. You already seen our rest bars. We had a few wore in between our spike rest bars.
Yeah.
Forward will be alright another year, without a doubt. Nor welding back of our cage where we got our cracks and our mounts. Now we got the missing hardware on the right hand side.
Bushing. Yeah.
Fan motor. you got it down here, excessive slack, we'll have to get somebody out, like I said, and plumb into it. Check the flow. You got one blade missing on the counter knife. All your chopper blades, everything look fine. Tailor's processor, you got the lower bearing. Yep, you got the bushings at the top and idler.
Yeah.
This inspection here's kind of short.
That's the kind you like, ain't it?
That's most definitely the kind I like. I don't know about the store, but.
Well, the store ain't giving me no discount on parts this year.
Well, you know how it works. Low speed
Belt.
Low speed belt on our chopper. And both of our idlers. Got the slack, probably replace the bushing before we get into the pen. Our serpentine belt, I noticed a couple of spots.
On the engine?
Yes. Where it's starting to chip up, flake up.
All the idlers, water pump and everything.
Our engine fan idler, it does have a little slack wearing in it, same as the rest of them. The bushings inside and on. It's sitting there all day long. Fan belt.
You're not talking about the one that drives the rotary screen, though. 'Cause I
No.
replaced all that.
No,
last
all
year.
that looks good.
Okay.
But the two fan belts, they look okay, but in the tension idler, just like the rest of them, we got those 10 bushings. They're wore a little bit.
Are those like easy to replace then?
These are.
Okay.
When you got the standalone fan mount, not that bad. The others, when the mount is on the engine, like about 8 hours. Fuel tank vent, I replace those every year. I put them on the inspection every year. For the cost of the vent, for the damage that it causes when it stops up, it's worth every penny of it.
Talking about that, where's the vent at on?
All the way up, right beside your fan shroud, stuck back in the corner.
You can't blow back in there and push it back out?
It won't stay. Once it collapses, it pretty much forms itself. And right hand retainer ring on our lateral tilt sensor on the feeder, not reading.
It wasn't reading where we parked it.
This morning when I was running it, left and right, I'm getting a blank. Elevator drive pulley, bushings in it. Tailor tensioner, we talked about that. Engine fan, idler, right there it is, the slack, we talked about that. And both chopper.
So that's
really,
so the fan drive motor, that's the biggest thing left, and Jacob's going to come out here with the flow meter.
Yes.
On it.
We're going to tie into it and see what our fluid's doing going in, see what the fluid's doing coming out. And find out where our problem is, either with supply or return. It could just be finally internal drive failure. So.
What did you say about that?
Are you carrying that back down to Brindle so I can go down there and get with the parts guy and figure out what we need to order? Because the website's down, I can't.
You can do that, or as soon as he's done typing it up, he can email it to you. Either way.
Now, if I was going to put grease fittings on some of these idlers, which are the ones that I really need to, and which are the ones that probably really ain't going to matter?
I would do the chopper idler. The others, you're not going to make that much of a difference. They're so thin. But the chopper idlers are bad about 3 seas into the shaft. Which here we've got enough wear that they're not stuck. Well, we see it every year. We've got 4 or 5 machines. We have to get on it with a torch, heat them, melt all the bushing out just to get the arm off the shaft.
The others would, but what, every 3 years, just plan on replacing bushings, or?
I would bank on it maybe every 2 years. There again, depending on the acre you run across, how long you're running the machine. Because all of them are sitting there all day long, just steadily bouncing. And it's just a common wear item.
I mean, grease might help extend it a little bit, but then you can be getting dirt in there too.
Yeah, it's going to attract dirt, it's going to hold the dirt, and then we're going to be into an issue of being seized. And that can be more of a nightmare than replacing the bushing.
All right. Well, a bunch of odds and ends to take care of, but nothing major. That's what I like.
Mostly common wear items.
She can hear you. She can hear you. You say that now, she's like, oh, watch me now. Now be quiet. She likes to be here.
Yeah, I'll get him to get busy on this when I get back and have it ready for you. Like I said, he can go ahead and send you a copy. Or you can pick it up when you come back.
I'll holler at him.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming out.
Yes, sir. Get my things put away and get out of your hair.
Sounds good. You get to work on it.
Like I said, 2 weeks from today is the 21st. We have to haul cows. You're right. If we haul cows and we come back, then we can haul the truck down there. 2 birds, 1 stone. Boom, boom. We're getting this done.
Anyways.
All right, everything put back together on this one, you think?
I'm gonna let you look at it because it's still got a lot of wiggle in the bottom of that pipe.
Okay. I'll look at it and then we'll back it out and just let it idle, bring up the operating temperature, run it up and down the road and see if we solved our leaking oil problem.
Yeah, everything else snugged up like it was supposed to.
All right, it's a day later. Combine inspection's done. We've got all our parts ordered and parts should be here shortly. So I'm gonna give you a rundown on what all the old gal needs. We got new rubber on it, got that done last week. Some really good looking tires. They ought to be for what they cost, about $1,900 a piece there, times 4. Give you a rundown what we gotta do to this. Luckily the list is fairly short and really easy. Start up here at the feeder house. Got some plastic wear strips right down there. Got 4 of them under the feeder slats. They starting to get wore through. Just pop those out, put some new ones in. And then looking up here in the rotor cage, got a bushing out right here in this bolt. We'll go ahead and replace that one too. And then something else from the accident, or I think it was from the accident, it could just be wear and tear. You look back up there where the back of the rotor cage is welded to the frame. We got cracks and looks like 4 spot welds on this side and the other side. So we're gonna have the professional welder bring his big MIG welder out here, because that's what you're gonna need to get up, get way back up in there. Stick welder is just a little too long, and run a continuous bead down on both sides. And then slip clutch here on the elevator housing, got a bushing in there, starting to get wore, getting some slop in there, no big deal there. Tensioner arm and tailings processor, got a bushing out, we're going down in there. The hydraulic motor on our cleaning fan here vibrating pretty bad, and got a tech from H&R coming out, should be out here in just a few minutes to bring flow meters, because we think most likely it's either in the motor or it's a supply or return oil issue, and he's going to put flow meters on there to see if the flow is pulsating, causing the vibration, and if it's not, then we're going to have to replace that motor. That's probably going to be the biggest ticket item if we have to replace the motor there. Here on the tailings processor auger, she's pretty dry, got a bearing to replace there. Up there on the motor, the fan, the cooling fan drive, the tensioner, got a bushing out in there. If you notice, that's becoming a theme. One of our chopper belts here, I think it's this one right here. Chopper belts here starting to get us some cracks. Probably can make it through the year, but we'll go ahead and replace it. And then on the chopper belt tensioners, got we'll replace bushings in there. Here on the shoe drive, that's getting dry. Welds on cage there. Get we got a little bit of oil in the we got a little bit of water in the oil of the unloading auger gearbox, so we're going to change that oil. And I think that's pretty much it. It's going to be a fairly short list and a really cheap list, depending on what we got to do with the fan drive.
A lot less than what I thought we'd have to do.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be a whole heck of a lot. Luckily, you know, he didn't find much hidden stuff. She's still in mighty good shape. What's up, Jacob?
What's up?
You gonna solve our cleaning fan problems?
I'm gonna try to. Alright,
Ready to fire it up?
ready to fire up.
Wide open or just what?
Let it warm it, let it warm itself up, and everything then go wide open. Alright, we ready?
pressure side of the motor. Now we got it hooked up on the return side of the motor. We're seeing some a little bit of bouncing on the pressure floater there. Not really sure if that's what's causing it or not. Yeah, it's loose, but I mean, what if all that vibration on that motor? I mean, wouldn't we see this frame vibrating some too, or?
No, because that metal down there was holding that motor is thinner, and you got more weight on that bracket. Is where you're you got more weight on the motor and everything actually on that bracket.
So assist was telling them excessive motor or excess vibration in the motor could be due to those two rollers on the back of the sieve, or there's a pivot point on the front, and it could be slop in that bushing, because all of that, the fan motor, everything is mounted to that. It says cleaning system vibration, pivot pin loose. We got rollers back there and then a pivot on the front. So I guess that's what we're going to check out right now. Where's it at?
You look midway above the fan, you can see a gap in the bottom.
Well, I see some shiny where it looks like it's been rubbing on that washer.
I thought I was seeing all the way through underneath the bottom of it.
I don't think that. I think you're just seeing shiny metal there where it's been rubbing on that washer. That would be a booger to replace. That's up in there.
That's going to be a not so fun job if that winds up being it.
This is a problem John Deere's and Gleaners and Caterpillars and Fence don't have, because Case H is the only one that's got self-leveling sieves. Fantastic in the hillsides on not losing grain, but another wear point. So trying to adjust the rollers to get them touching on the frame.
That's one of them fancy dancy heavy duty.
I ain't got a pry bar
Lady fingers.
that neat. Gotta give me one of them.
Go ahead and tell you, order them off Amazon or get a gear. It's cheaper than you can get what I paid for this one. If I would have known that shit, I would have ordered it off of there.
That's a good bit of play back and forth there.
It's moving on that pin very much, that.
The pin ain't moving.
Yep, you can see like he said, it's pulp valve.
Yeah, where that bolt goes through the speed cog wheel.
Yep, it's got a lot of excess flex right there.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That one side right there. Yeah, cause
I don't know if something's wallered out or broke loose or what up in there.
It won't take just a second. We can.
We need to pull it.
Now why don't I think check that first before going all this other stuff?
There.
All I had to do was just look on the back side. Well, I guess with the screen in the place though,
That's what I was
you
telling
can't get your head back in there
That's what I
anyway.
was telling Jacob. I said, I hate these damn screens.
I
I know they serve a
To be honest
purpose,
with you though, Zach, I ain't gonna tell him how many of them screens are gone off of. It's tore out right there.
Yep.
She gone.
That'll cause that vibration. All that testing should have tested the simple things first. Wound up being the rubber isolating plate that mounts the fan there broke, but can't see over in there with a cage on there. That should have been the first thing done is took the set off.
Jacob used one of 5/8 socket and put a gun on it.
You got one.
Well,
Without me going all the way back out there to my truck.
Well, yeah.
Well, you see me over here beating on crap.
Start with me.
Watch it, you gonna get to the last one.
Well, at least it's not a several $1,000 motor.
Yeah, for sure. There it is. You see that? Where it's kind of tore right there around the metal bushing. There's that's a problem.
While you're here, my lateral tilt sensor is not reading. It was working whenever we pulled it, whenever we got done cutting beans. You got any way of testing that potentiometer there, seeing if that's the problem? Or
The biggest thing we can do, we can hook you into the wires. You know, we can back probe into the wire, the power wire and the ground wire, make sure we're getting power to it, and then kind of see if we're getting any signal back out of it.
okay.
We can do that. I'll get these lines put back on this pump, and then I'll go out there and get my voltmeter and stuff. We can raise that feeder up a little bit, and I'll back probe into it.
Okay. So on voltage, how come it ain't reading? Just need they be calibrated, or?
Probably need to do the header cal. When you put a header on, do the header calibration.
Okay. And the monitor is still turned on to my draper head, and since it's not hooked up, that's why I wasn't reading. So another problem solved. I appreciate you coming out this morning, getting my problem figured out.
Oh yeah. Got all that took care of there for you.
I never would have thought to adjust them alignment wheels on the back of that. See if I never would have thought to do that.
I didn't know there was adjustment in the back there.
Yeah, they'll cop just a little. The bottom hole has got a slot in it.
You showed up just in time to start turning some wrenches.
No, I'm good then. I found a clean bucket.
Because the mechanic is leaving.
I found a clean bucket. Do you know how amazing that is? I found a clean bucket.
Here's my
No, I'm actually getting.
here's my slow clap.
If it wasn't PG, I'd give you the middle finger. No, honestly though, what do I need to use to cut that liner off of that? All those aluminum supports on that old pool, because that you can recycle, but you can't recycle the liner.
Get you a box blade.
I tried. That thing is really thick.
Not if you got a sharp one. All right, here we go. Here's all of our parts. Well, everything except for the fan. Big long list this year. Just a bunch of bushings and one bearing, belts, wear strips, pulley.
14 hours worth of work disassembling for a 45-second job of a hammer and a punch to pop them out and put them back in.
That's what it's going to be.